And what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mango Grove. My name is Krisha, and this is Sean. Sean, would you like to start off with your good morning, good morning, good morning?
Well, since you already did the honors, I don't need to anymore, right?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Sean Dexter, and I welcome you back to the Mango Grove for your daily Bitcoin analysis video.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so we closed a week. Beautiful. And well, Sean, we closed inside the weekly Ichimoku cloud.
You've been waiting for this for...
I have.
Like, what 2 months?
No, I haven't been waiting. I've been wanting to see if it would pick,
This is your moment, Krisha.
It would close inside, and it did. Let me look at that. And even today's little drop, not a drop, but if you kind of look at it on maybe the lower time frames, let's just go on to the 1 hour, just quickly. Ooh. And that was that touch, right? Ooh. So this wick here was basically, it came, bounced right off the bottom of the cloud right there on the weekly cloud. Let's go back to that weekly. And that's that there, right?
Actually, this morning when we woke up for the weekly close, you were looking for that retest of the bottom of the cloud. Yes, I do remember. Wow, look at you.
And that's where like these higher levels are like super rewarding if you're willing to wait, right? And you're not. And when we got up, it was somewhere around here, about 9,935 when the candle started.
When you got up.
And then. That's true. But no, that's when I told you that, we're likely to get that retest there. But I like this close, Sean. I really do. Now, question is, this is still, however, what is to note here is that this is still a lower high, right? On those weekly candle body closes, if you're looking at the wicks.
I'm not convinced with the close, to be honest, but...
I like the close.
Every time I've doubted the cloud, I've been wrong, but I'm not convinced. Quite honestly.
Why aren't you convinced? What are your reasons? What are you looking for that is, that's making you uncertain? Besides the obvious, which is the lower highs.
My reasons are not good reasons. They're more discretionary than they are based on technical analysis, but they are playing out. Basically, I had discretionary reasons right off the bat as to why I wasn't convinced with this. And this morning, for example, when we closed this weekly, right over here, was an okay close. Wasn't the most convincing for what I look for on weekly candles. And you know why. I've explained this in the past. There were lots of fake outs on the weekly candle closes in the past. Like this one was a fake out. Right over here too was a nice little fake out where this was really brutal and we may end up doing something similar over here, where we barely closed higher, right? Giving you what you want, seeing continuation, but dumping on over to the downside in the week to follow, right?
Yeah.
So over here too, this candle closes barely giving us what we want. And now when you go on over to the lower time frame, what I'd like to have seen was at least 2 4-hour candles close above. Now I don't have my horizontals drawn on your computer, but at least 2 4-hour candle closes above this line over here, right?
Okay, yeah.
9,850-ish.
Yeah, that is also a major level.
So we got this first candle close, which is good. I was looking for this next candle close and we didn't get it, and that was bad. That was when I was like, this is doing what I expected to do. That and this is not something you should expect, because you're kind of expecting a trap in that way. That's what it ended up being. It ended up being a trap, right? And I don't like expecting traps and playing for that, but hey, it worked out. And if you look at the 1 hour, we actually lost this. Okay, so let's put it simply. Right over here, if I draw that horizontal, you have it too. Okay, yeah. There you go, you have it too. So we broke, we retested, but you want to see continuation right after. No, where's that continuation? We kept seeing sell pressure.
Sell pressure, and we didn't even get like that support, like it was red, and then break.
We did get support for 3 candles leading into the 4-hour candle close, and just before the 4-hour candle close, boom,
we got it done,
right? Yeah. So initially I would have been happy to say, you know what, I'd look for continuation for 2 4-hour candle closes above this. Okay, but now I'm going to be more strict about that. I want to see 2 4-hour candle closes above this zone, or at least a nice thick candle close above the zone over here for me to look for continuation, or a wick above this area here, this guy here. So wick above, what's that high? 10,361-ish?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I'm just gonna clear my chart out.
10,550 cents.
So if you just look, 10,500, that was that wick high right here, right? And I get your point. I was thinking about that actually, because we had something very similar happen on Bitcoin in this region right here. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of all my drawing tools. If you kind of just look at the cloud, a price relative to the cloud there, it was too like, you couldn't see that. A lot of people looked at this as bullish, but price here, this candle, guys, actually closed outside the cloud.
Oh,
It closed below.
interesting.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it was just so slight. And because of the amount of support that we have there, the Tenkin, the Kijun, we had that 21 EMA running right through.
And the daily 21 was there too.
Exactly. So there was a lot there. And if you just zoom in and you just kind of place your cursor there and you look at where price closed.
Closed right underneath.
And it
slightly,
closed
right?
so slightly, like underneath the cloud.
So it's very similar to this situation.
Right.
So it's the reverse though, because we close underneath.
Yeah.
And then we had continuation to the upside. So
Exactly.
here, maybe we close above and have continuation to the downside.
Yeah. But then it's like, how do you know? It's
That's
such
what I
a
mean. It's
thin
discretionary.
line. Yeah.
It's not. That's why I have. This is where you and I trade differently, right? I
Yeah.
have those rules that I put in for certain scenarios, and this would be one of those scenarios where I'm like, you know what, Sean, be cautious, because to me, I don't need to be long in a leverage trade for Bitcoin to make money, right? If Bitcoin wants to keep going up, we are making money anyways.
That's true.
Right? We
That is
don't
true.
need, and that's what people tend to forget. They see Bitcoin going up. If you're already in Bitcoin, don't FOMO into the trade, because the worst is for you to be losing Bitcoin in a bull market.
Yeah.
Right? Just let your Bitcoin run on its own, and you'll be making money. Take the obvious trades in a bull market. In fact, it's in a bear market that you should be a little bit more keener to take those positions, because you're losing on your portfolio, losing USD, right? Each time Bitcoin goes
That's
down
true.
without you being in the trade,
That is
your
true.
portfolio is losing value.
Yes.
But in a bull market, don't FOMO, guys. Just like, okay, so comes down to the entire analysis, at least for me, comes down to the statement or the paragraph I put in Mango Grove this morning. Right now, the play is to be patient if you're not already long from that 8,500 level where we took our trades on the daily
Yes.
21, right? Or if you guys caught a position on the 2-day 21, like we got that try, I think 3 times, and I missed all 3. If you guys caught it, good for you. Those were the trades, either the day 21 or the 2-day 21. At this point, you don't want to be risking trying to get aggressive in this key area. 10,000, this 10,000 reason, 9,750-ish to 10,000. It's too key for you to be trying to go long here. Just wait for, in my opinion, this is not financial advice, wait for a decision to be made, a clear decision.
And so what in your mind would be a clear decision? So I'm like, for me, I was looking at the cloud, right? And I feel like if we get another weekly candle, I already think that this
Another
is
weekly
strong.
candle would
But
be
if we
good.
see another good weekly candle body close inside the cloud, I think that would really solidify Bitcoin's stance, Bitcoin's bullish stance. Now, but that's my opinion, okay? This is not financial advice in any way or form. So what exactly are you looking for to really solidify, what your sort of outlook on Bitcoin in the near term? And near term, I'm talking about the next quarter, the next 2 quarters. So next 6 months.
I'm bullish on Bitcoin next 6 months. I mean, I'm it's very hard for me to be bearish on Bitcoin super long term. The only time I got bearish on Bitcoin super long term was very recently. And clearly we were wrong about being bearish, or the market decided to say F the bears, because like that's a hard question. That's a hard question, because 6 months from now so much can happen, right? But long term Bitcoin is bullish for me. Like,
What about here? What about in this region right now? So you are, you're uncertain. So what exactly are you looking for in this region to say that, okay, fine, I believe that Bitcoin is going to do X?
I'm not uncertain here.
Okay.
I'm being cautious
Okay.
because, okay, if you've noticed, I've even been trying to stay away from too much social media recently.
Yes.
Because I'm already in a position, and I've been following my plan. I've been at the 9,750 region. I've been selling those calls, right? Why? Because I'm being cautious.
Yes.
But why am I not taking profits off my trend trade? Right? Because I want to be in a position in case we do have a major break. I do think that if we have a break here, it's going to be major and it's worth being in a position for if you got a good position. At the same point, the break could come to the downside, which is why, again, I'm being cautious. I'm taking precautions rather, right? So if you look at the lower time frame, you're going to see that we've lost the 1 hour uptrend, right? And almost immediately gave up the 4 hour uptrend. So now we are in a 4 hour downtrend and 1 hour downtrend. Now the next step is, can we confirm a 12 hour downtrend? And it's not looking good here, right? This is how it starts. This is how it begins to unfold. But at any moment, the high time frame may pick up and we may see a continuation. So the daily confirmed a higher low a couple of days ago. Yesterday, it was the day before.
Can just, it
was in the 10 SMA, right over here.
There
so 2 days ago on this 10 SMA. And then we took out this wick over here, this high over here, we took out this high over here. So if we can take out these guys over here, it would be even more convincing, but I want to start seeing candle closes now.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Look at this though, right?
And then we have a Kumo twist coming up.
Which is why I've been saying I'm either looking for something like 13K or 6K. I'm not looking for a small move here. If you break the Kijun,
even I'm not looking for 13K that quick. I was looking for 11.7 possibly.
I think we're going to surprise people. So
on the downside move, if you are looking for a surprise on the downside, what would your target be?
6K, 5.9K, 6K.
You're still sticking with that, eh?
6K, anywhere between 6.3K to 5.9K.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm looking for that move.
I like that.
I mean,
I like that personally.
I think so. I mean, I could be wrong, right? If you get picked up earlier, great. It's not like I'll just miss out on a trade if you do see a bounce to the upside quicker. Because there's major weekly levels at 7.2K. I see why people are looking at 7.2K, but
okay, that's interesting. But good. There's a Kumo twist right here, and another thing that someone brought up in the Mango Growth today was the Golden Cross.
Yes.
Right. So the Golden Cross. Now a lot of people are looking at the Golden Cross, which is basically you're looking at your 50 EMA, right, as well as your 200 exponential moving average. Actually, let's go and put that on. Because I want to bring that up. Now, you had something really good to say.
By the way, I want to give a quick heads up to Jojo. She asked, and Ashok too, for me. I was working on it this weekend. The lagging span will be included in the Mango Ribbon. I'll push out that update very, very soon. It's already ready. I just need to push it out. So, yeah.
Okay, Jojo, you heard that. So that's cool. All right, so we have the Golden Cross right now. So we had a Death Cross right here. This is the daily time frame, right? And that sort of was kind of in line with that bottom there at around that 3K when we did have that dump. Though I believe that dump was what kind of caused that, right?
Caused the cross.
And exactly. So then, and we had this, the ensuing rally, and we had a double cross right now.
Well, that was the trade right there. When it came down to it, right? You kind of got a forecast across happening that way because these do lag. So that was the trade. That's what I mean. That's the trade I missed, the 8,000 level. Twice it came down there. So it wasn't 3 times, it was twice. And people looking for continuation after this should be a little bit more cautious because you can't look at the cross right over here. It's so far away. And you take a trade right here. It's not that you can't. You can, by all means. But it's risky, right? We could very well come and base off this area right over here again and then bounce. So be very careful. Those crosses is what I'm trying to say.
And also look at this. It's been pretty choppy though because of, the signature in this run, if you want to call it, has been very different from all of Bitcoin's past runs. Wherein like even the Golden Crosses, look at this. It's been extremely choppy. Right, this is 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th cross we're getting in like less than a year, so and you don't usually see that on a time frame as high as the daily.
And that's not a good sign,
no,
in my opinion. I was talking about this all the way back here, right? In the seed program, we were talking about it all the way over here. We had a conversation about how we're likely going to see a phenomenon of very, very short cycles of bull and bear.
Yes.
And we're seeing that play out. And now this is another example of, okay, you have the right analysis, you have the right forecast, but you're not executing on it well, right? And I'm talking about myself over here. So I had the right analysis. So I was able to see that we're going to have these short sprints of bull and bear markets. But while I was able to catch this bull run and understand that, hey, we're likely to have only a short sprint, I didn't make that connection on this bear market. If you're looking at this as one mini bear market move, right? I should have been like, okay, we're gonna have these short bursts in Bitcoin, in crypto land, and that was my mistake. Again, we're going off track over here, but I just want to like reflect on that and be like, okay, there were signs for me to be like, okay, maybe you want to switch bullish sooner. But I think I got caught on looking at the longer term cycle a little bit too much. But let's see. Maybe this is a low high. Maybe I was just a little bit too early. So I'm trying to reflect out loud.
Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, people seem to really like your reflections out loud.
My rants on nothing.
But that's good because, I mean, it's all psychology. I feel like there's a huge psychological game when it comes to trading, because, doing the analysis is one thing, but then taking the trade when it really comes down to it, that's a whole different ball game. Like, there's a lot of psychology involved there. Like, you have to be super in the zone, right? You have to be prepared, more importantly. So, okay. So this was the thing on the golden cross. I want to see what other time frame did we cross on. What would be your advice to people who are looking at, taking trades on the golden cross? Do you have any, any advice for them? They're looking, I mean, people, they're
look for the retest onto the golden cross.
Okay.
So try and kind of forecast it, where you see, okay, sometimes you're going to see price come down and test the cross from happening. Right, basically, if you're seeing a bullish cross, if price dumps into it, you could look at it as, okay, the bears are trying to prevent that from happening. If the bulls pick it up, right, you want to be on the side of the bulls because you should have your plan anyways in ahead of time, right? You should be like, okay, a golden cross might be coming up.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a trade there. You shouldn't be looking at the chart like, oh, hey, golden cross, let's buy. I don't think that's how you should do it. So if you're looking at it ahead of time, you can say, okay, you know what? If I see the bears attack price and try and prevent the golden cross from happening, I want to be on the side of the bulls.
Okay.
And I want to be on the buy side to see a defense. And I think that's what we had over here.
Okay. That's fair.
I wasn't even looking at these crosses, to be honest. Yeah. But that was another way to look at it. But all you need is the 21 EMA and the 10K. That's my bias though. So.
Is there any other level, any other time frame that you're kind of focusing on right now that you think price is doing, fairly well off of besides, your higher time frames?
The monthly is doing this.
The monthly is actually on the Kijun right now. It is testing that monthly Kijun.
So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm just being very patient.
Just kind of zoom into the monthly price action. Exactly. What do you know? Look at that.
Exactly.
That was such a. I mean, we closed right above the Tenkin right there, and it's classic. It's a classic play from the Tenkin all the way up to the Kijun, and this is a decision point for the next monthly close. Of course, we have quite a couple of weeks left on that monthly before we end the candle, but that's going to be a decision point to see whether Bitcoin can close over. Okay. However, if we don't close over, do you think we can come at least down to the 21 EMA on the monthly?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But from what I'm looking for at 6.8K, 5.8K to 6K, we might end up seeing that. So if you just look at how well the Kijun and Tenkin have behaved, over here, even throughout this entire run, this is very key, and we've been taking trades off this, right? You can see how as soon as we lost this over here too, it's been acting so well. If the big trade for me is going to be the TK cross, Tenkin going over the Kijun again on the monthly time frame, and price actually closing 2 months above that. Now again, for that you have to wait a long time, right? Almost half a year maybe.
Yeah.
Right, but think about how rewarding that patience can be.
Yeah.
Because the move that we can see after that, Krisha, I'm talking about 30,000 or something like that. That's going to be huge. Start closing monthly candles here in the 12,000, 13,000 region. It's going to enter new macro cycle.
So talking about like these big numbers, now we're also seeing a lot of big investors enter the market, right? The Bitcoin market. The biggest one that recently came up was Tudor Jones.
Yes.
Right? So do you think that, and he's sort of just, I'm guessing this is a good fair assumption that he's probably building a position. The news was that he's invested in single-digit bitcoins.
So single-digit percent. So his portfolio is in single-digit percent.
Okay, yes.
And around 1 or 2%.
So do you think they're going to be, stacking up around this region? Are they, price does come down, do you find that these big investors may come, in and pick the price up? What are your thoughts on that? There's a lot of noise right now in the whole, the macro space about Bitcoin.
About Bitcoin or about Paul Tudor Jones and Bitcoin?
Paul Tudor Jones, yes, that's the biggest one that, hit, the world just now, the Bitcoin world at least.
I think a lot of people in the crypto space, surprisingly enough, don't fully understand the implications of Paul Tudor Jones. He's not just a normal hedge fund investor, right?
You're right there.
Big name. He's a legend in the space. So one of the reasons I admire Paul Tudor Jones or the reason I was drawn towards studying his trading style. His trading style does not fit mine, but he looked up to a lot of the legends that I looked up to, right? And he was able to take that, morph it, make it his own style, and trade in a very mango way with the risk approach first. One of the things that he would always say was the reason traders lose in this game is because they're always thinking about, again, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the quote perfectly, but they always think about the money in the sky instead of thinking about how much money they stand to lose. Right, so it's very similar to what we have adopted, and that's where all of this inspiration comes from. He has really morphed the way people think about not just the hedge fund world, but even trading. And he was one of the first hedge fund, I think one of the first hedge fund investors to have 3 or 5 consecutive years of 100% win.
Wow.
Wins. Yeah, so not 100% wins, 100% returns at the end of the year, annual returns, right? So that's hard. That's impressive, more than impressive. So yeah, again, just a quick brief on Paul Tudor Jones for a lot of people who. And he's known for the 1987. Okay, here's another thing that I want to talk about. Everybody knows him for this. This shouldn't be a surprise for a lot of people. He's known for predicting the 1987 crash, right? And being on the right side of the trade, while a lot of investors got completely wrecked. He was on the right side of the trade. But what people don't understand is that he was wrong a lot in the past. Okay, he was wrong a lot in the past. He kept trying and cutting his losses, kept trying and cutting his losses, kept trying and cutting his losses. And all it takes, and he understood that, right? He understood all it takes is that one time to win and win big, because that crash was huge, right? He said that was the most exciting morning of his life. While everybody was getting wrecked, he had one of his biggest wins, I think. And I want to emphasize on the fact that he was losing a lot before, but his losses don't matter because he cuts them. He cuts them and just tries again, cuts them and tries again. And yeah.
This ties back to what you said in one of our previous duo videos in terms of, the number of, let's say, wins/losses, regardless, depending on what it is that you take on your trade, versus the momentum of the move.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Magnitude. It's both the magnitude of the win along with the amount of times you win. You don't need to win as much if your magnitude is huge, right?
Right. So, but coming back to the question that I asked you, right? Sorry. So, what do you think many of the big investors, men with big pockets, men and women with big pockets, what do you think they're going to do if price at this level and price if it comes down?
I don't think that they're going to be accumulating a position that is massive and they're going to be going into double-digit % of their portfolio in Bitcoin. It's too speculative and too new of a asset for them. So what people need to understand is that to these guys, Bitcoin is more of a call option. So what I mean by a call option, essentially the way they look at it is that it either goes to 0,
okay,
or it's going to go to $1 million. Okay. So that's Bitcoin in their portfolio right now. It's that ROI that they're looking for, or it goes to 0. So to them, that 1% or 2% or even 5%, if Bitcoin actually does succeed, it's going to grow into a massive position in their portfolio anyways. So their thesis is based on that notion that it goes all the way to a massive number. So they're not going to go with a huge allocation in their portfolio.
Okay.
If there is an expectation of it going to 0, right?
Oh, okay.
So think about it. If you're okay with this going to 0, you're not going to go and put freaking 25% of your portfolio in Bitcoin, right? Now, as a personal portfolio, you might be okay doing that, but when you're handling billions of dollars, okay, you don't want to have that kind of exposure. You're also going to have liquidity risk. If you do try to get out of the market, they're thinking about that. If I do want to get out of the market, will I be able to easily? Right? And that's why they don't want to worry about having a big position, because they're like, okay, if I can't get out of the market and I have to hold this is either going to zero or this is going to $1 million. And there's a very simple way to think about this in terms of risk and reward. Let's say you're buying in Bitcoin around 9,000-ish, okay, as a hedge fund. What is the worst that could happen over here? Well, it goes to zero, right? So it's the difference is from 9,000 down to zero. $9,000, that's a lot, okay? Seems like a lot, but now you compare it to the upside of 1 million. Now that just seems like a normal trade, right? Where it's a long-term trade, and your stop loss is this thing just not working and the world forgetting about it. That's the stop loss. That's what I mean by a call option, because when you're buying a call or a put, you're only paying the premium, and you either win or you lose your premium.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, that's actually a good way to kind of think about it, and that's some good insight actually, because a lot of people at the beginning they thought that Paul Tudor Jones was holding physical Bitcoin, as in he went and he bought the underlying asset.
Yeah.
However, news came out that no, he took a futures position.
That shouldn't matter. I don't know why people are making such a big deal about it, because at the end of the day, when he's buying in the market, he is causing the rest of the market to respond to his behavior.
Exactly.
I don't see why people make such a big noise about this. So, especially if a market is just new like Bitcoin. Anyways, that's a I can go deep into that and discuss gold too, but.
Okay, back to the charts though. Is there anything else that you want to talk about in terms of Bitcoin's weekly close and, well, the price action? Now, I currently am, well, still bullish, considering that we did close a candle, inside that weekly cloud. That's what I was waiting for. However, what is to note that we still have a lower high, and I believe there is monthly resistance overhead, but I really like the way price has reacted off of the cloud levels. If we do break and go down, I will risk manage at that point, but I'm liking this this close. What about you, Sean? Anything else that you want to go over on Bitcoin's charts?
Well, I just want to
auto.
And okay, so essentially, do you have your 10 SMA over here, Krisha?
Yes.
Is it
second one on the list?
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. So if we've been holding this 10 SMA for a while now, 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be interesting to see what Bitcoin does if we do come and test the 10 SMA. If we lose a 10 SMA, I'm not sure we're going to hold the 21 either, because the 21 EMA is coming up to around the 10 SMA. The 10 SMA is beginning to kind of lose its momentum. As you can see, it's kind of going sideways. Bitcoin needs to make a decision here soon. It loses this juncture over here. I'm looking for Kijun at the very least at that point. So 7.7K. So
okay, yeah, and that lines up with the Kumo twist, and right now you're right in that momentum there is sort of that upwards sort of slope is, veining off right now, and we may very well see that cross a good spot on that. But okay, so this is Bitcoin. Do you want to go over Chainlink for all the fanboys and fangirls? Chainlink BTC, because Sean really likes Chainlink BTC. Right, Sean?
So we lost the cloud. Yeah, well, I like Chainlink, not Chainlink BTC. Lost the cloud, and now we are doing something that's actually not a bad look at all over here. This may seem bearish, but the fact that we're not seeing continuation to the downside and we're maintaining that higher low in terms of a swing. So we have a swing here. Show me.
Oh, quickly. Sorry.
I'm trying to draw. So this swing here, this is not the perfect here, but the reason I'm marking it is because it lines up with the weekly higher lows that we're talking about, right? So we're maintaining that underneath the cloud. If we break back into the cloud and retake the 21 EMA, I do think this uptrend is going to continue, and then I'll be looking for us to take out this over here too, and we're going to start a new daily uptrend on Chainlink BTC, in which regard Chainlink USD is probably going to do really well too.
Yeah, and I also noticed a pattern, guys. Holy moly. Sean actually marked it out. I think this could very well be an Adam and Eve. So you have this peaky bottom right here, and then you have a rounded one. If we do start breaking if you take back that 10 SMA, the 21 EMA, getting all the way up to that Kijun, I do believe there's the Kijun, in line with the neckline of this. If we do actually do that, now, of course, guys, this is all premature until we break that neckline, okay? This is not a pattern until we break to the upside. What we're looking for is price actually taking out the adhesion right there. But if this happens, Sean, if this happens, let's go look at that. Okay, place it right around there. Where are we going? We're going to 4835 sats. All right, that is around a 13% to the upside.
Let's look at Link USD quickly.
Sure. Link USD. Let's do, I think this is Binance. Okay, Binance.
Still going sideways, still doing nothing. Yeah,
So yeah, this needs to come to a, this needs to have a turning point, I believe, for, well, Link BTC to actually also start picking up some momentum, some bullish momentum.
Didn't you say ADA? You called ADA, right? You said, was it you?
I was looking at ADA on the weekly time frame actually.
Oh, another reason, by the way. Wow, look at this.
Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned ADA to me. I think it was yesterday, and Jesus Christ. But I do want to talk about LTC. One of the reasons I got a little bit more bearish, or I won't say bearish, but a little bit more cautious on Bitcoin was because of what LTC did right after having its move. I'm not sure whether you noticed that, Krisha.
I'm gonna go ahead and LTC. USD.
So Coinbase, perhaps. Yeah. Look at how, so it had a nice move to the upside and almost immediately got sold into, right? Lost almost everything right after, and that's not a good look. To me, yeah, that made me a little bit more cautious. And this is all discretionary stuff that you shouldn't be using as technical analysis, really. But these are things you tend to notice in a market that you trade often.
This is actually a good sort of point in terms of discretionary trading, because more often than not, especially with the crypto market, I find that helps. Yep. You know, when you're looking at these outliers on other charts, like Bitcoin is painting one picture, however, all the other high M caps, and usually I find that the high M caps move together. Yep. While they may not have the same magnitude of a move, but they're moving together. And as soon as one is not able to take out a major level, however, Bitcoin manages to close inside the cloud, right? But say Ethereum USD, which also moves with Bitcoin to an extent. ETH USD, I was looking for ETH to break to close over a major weekly level that it's been testing now for weeks. I'm looking at the 211 price point, and we could not take that back. So these are all little, signs.
In fact, that's what, that's something else you mentioned this morning to me,
So yeah, I was looking at the white line right there. That's what I was looking at, and Ethereum did not take that out. So these are all little kind of, notes to be, taken when you're looking to really get in those positional trades, right? So risk manage. And anything else you want to add to this? All right, guys, you have our input on Bitcoin, Chainlink, LTC, and Ethereum. And with that, guys, trade safely, trade stress-free, trade the mango way, trade the easy way, guys. Ciao.